Hey guys, it's Easy here again with another dev diary. I want to show you some new things I added to the mod. And also will explain what other new things will come in the future, because the project has changed a bit. That is why there's that's why I added some factions, of course, but I will explain it later. So I don't know if you have seen the official forum, the Total RTS Mods forum, where I post some pictures of the factions that will be playable between parentheses, but I will explain it also later. But at least the ones that will be part of the storyline. So what has been added to the mod that will come with the update 5, you could say, I mean beta 5, is of course sorry, my voice is a bit sick, but no problem. Spain has been added as a faction. Portugal, Portuguese faction has been added to the faction. Also new music have been added, also made by Luc Chantereau, so all credit goes to him, of course, for the music. What else have been added? There have been a lot of things have been added. I can tell you, of course, new muskets, for example, for the Spanish and Portuguese. I mean, they use the same one. What else have been added? A lot of stuff. I think I will, when I ever update the game, hopefully this month. I say hopefully because end of this month I'm going on vacation. So yeah, let's see a replay I made, of course. I played a battle.
We are ready to defend, sir.
One of my favorite maps. So as you can see, I'm playing as the Portuguese. My opponent, the AI, is the Spanish faction. They put it a bit slower. So here we have, as the Portuguese units, we have the Porto Caçador, a light infantry from Porto, of course, the city of Porto. Here we have the Timor infantry, or from Timor. Of course, we know that the Portuguese had for a long time Timor as a colony. I think it was the eastern part of Indonesia. So here we have Timor infantry with their cool hats. I made them especially for those units, so from scratch. And we also see they have like sandals on. Now, of course, this is a summer dress. The winter dress you have to see for yourself. I will add some pictures, of course, on the forum, so you will see how they look with winter dress, with their own standard bearer, of course. And here we have the normal fusiliers, or line infantry, you could say, the Portuguese fusiliers. Let me see, here is the normal, no, this is the Porto Caçador, we already saw that one. Porto Caçador have like brown uniforms. Here we have the colonial infantry, the Portuguese colonial infantry. Oh, they already are shooting my men here. And here we have the infantry from Macau, because we also know that the Portuguese had Macau, the southern part of China, as a colony. So here we have the infantry from Macau under Portuguese authority, if you could say. So pretty cool. Then we have the 6-pounder colonial guns. As you know, and the main army of every Western faction will be colonial infantry. Colonial armies. Here we have again the Timor infantry. Okay. Fusiliers we already have seen. This is the Marine infantry. Yes, indeed, these are the Portuguese Marine infantry. Pretty cool, I hope. This is the normal 6-pounder field cannon. They look a bit like the colonial ones, except that they don't have a plume, I think. There's some other stuff. Okay, Fusilier we have seen. Caçador we also have seen. Other Caçador, Macau infantry. I think that's actually it for the Portuguese ones. This is the 12-pounder field cannon, of course. I think most of the basic things you could say. Now the Portuguese army roster tier 1 is not that expensive, you know, like very big or large. If you compare them with other factions like the British or French, for example, have a lot of infantry. So yeah, that's why. Here we have the Portuguese general with the flag or the standard bearer, of course. They all speak Portuguese, so just for you to know, I made the sound. I took the sound, of course, from Napoleon Total War. And here we have the colonial infantry again. So let's take a look at the Spanish infantry. Normally you already saw pictures on the official forum. These are the Filipino infantry. We also know that the Philippines in those times until 1898, till the Spanish-American War, was under Spanish dominion. So that's the Filipino infantry. We have here the Fusiliers, of course, the Spanish Fusiliers with the standard bearers and regiment banners, of course. These are Grenadiers, the Grenadier infantry. These are the skirmishers, like the light infantry from Spain. They have like green uniforms. We already have seen Grenadiers. These are the engineers, also light infantry, and engineers have axes, so they use in combat axes, not bayonets. I know they have bayonets, actually pretty stupid, but okay. they have axes. Maybe in time I take off the bayonets, you know, if they use axes. These are the Marines, the Spanish Marines, of course. Okay. This is the Guard Cazador, because of course they are the elite light infantry from Spain. Fusiliers we already have seen, Marines we have seen. This is the General's bodyguard or General staff. Here we have the Spanish general with his bodyguard, of course, or his staff. Here we have the elite royal guard, or Guardia Real, as they say in Spanish. Look a bit like the French, huh? So pretty cool. This is Fusilier, we already saw that one. This is the colonial infantry. Very famous uniform, as you know, especially known from the Spanish-American War. But they already made the cloth before, actually, in the 1850s. Actually, they started it because it was a cheap material. That's why they use it for the colonial troops. They call them the rayados, or the stripes. You know, the stripes, the rayados. So very famous, especially with the Spanish-American War, because we know that they used those uniforms when they fought in Cuba, for example. This is the normal cazador, or light infantry. And then we have the Filipino infantry and colonial, we already saw that one. Here we have, of course, the colonial 6-pounder light guns, of course, as you see also with the rayado uniform. And here we have the normal light guns, the European light guns, you could say. And here we have the 12-pounder field cannon. So that's it. So what has been changed, as I said, you were probably, I don't know if you have seen the forum, I add all the information there about which type of rifles that they use, which type of artillery they use, and you know, all those stuff. The Spanish, for example, they use the 1757 flintlocks, you know, standard flintlocks from Spain, of course. As you can see, they are here. Now you could say, but why are they still using flintlocks, as you can see, in the 1850s? Well, in the 1850s, as you have seen in most of the factions, it was really a big change. I mean, it was starting to change from, you know, flintlocks to percussion or cap locks or percussion caps. Now, already before, a lot of them has changed in the 1830s, 1840s, but Spain was pretty late. It took them actually until the 1850s because they didn't change the standard musket from flintlocks to cap locks or to percussion locks. They actually changed from flintlocks directly to mini rifles in the 1850s. So what I did to have that historical account into the game is that all line infantry have flintlocks, and all light and elite infantry, they have the mini rifles, the 1851 French pattern, because they were using the 1851 French pattern. I mean, actually everyone that was using a mini musket, you could say, or the mini bullet, was actually coming from the 1851 French pattern. So the Enfield 1853 was, for example, from the French. The Russian 1854 was actually a US Springfield model, but that Springfield model was also based on French. So everything was actually based on the French, except they had different names and whatsoever, and some different attributes. But okay, so the Spanish were then, of course, using a very obsolete and old musket, sadly, and there's the reason why they didn't change directly from flintlocks to percussion locks, or for example from flintlocks to mini rifles. It has to do with the amount of civil wars they had in Spain, the loss of their colonies that they lost in the 1820s or 30s. So it was Spain was in a financial crisis actually in that period, so of course it also reflected in their armies. So that's why, you know, they had a lot of old obsolete technology actually until really the 1850s. So yeah, the Portuguese, the same situation they had, of course, because they were also using the 1857 flintlock musket, except the light infantry. They will use the 1853 Enfield one, of course, because we all know that the British actually helped a lot with the Portuguese army, especially in the Napoleonic Wars, to you know, recreate the regiment, as you say, because, you know, the king escaped Portugal when Napoleon invaded. So the British, it was under British influence the way the army was operating. So as you can see, still of them, they were also using the 1857 flintlock muskets, the line infantry, and the light infantry is using then the 1853 Enfield musket rifle one. So yeah, to play with Portugal and Spain will be, of course, a little bit, you could say, a bit more difficult, because of course the technology they were using, you know, flintlocks were not really that reliable. Misfire was pretty high with flintlock muskets. It also is reflected in the game. You'll see a big difference between flintlocks and percussion locks, but also a big difference between smoothbore muskets and rifled muskets. So, and then of course you still have even the rifled breech-loaded muskets, also a big difference. If you have ever played with the elite Prussian units, they have the needle guns. So yeah, these are the weapons, or the weapons from the 1850s, you could say. So you could say that the Prussians tier 1 have the best muskets, the elite units I'm talking about, because the other line infantry, they also had obsolete, some of them smoothbore muskets. So, but okay, the Portuguese doesn't have, or do not have, elite units. They only have light and line infantry. Sorry about that. There is possibility that still maybe add some units, but I think for the moment that will be it. You could say that they have maybe the smallest roster of the Western factions, the Portuguese. So yeah. What else have been changed? I have added some music, as I said before, from Loup Chantereau. He made it for me, especially for the mod, so all credits goes to him. I also have changed a bit of the sound files. So let's go and play. Hear the sound of it a bit. So normally most of the drum sounds and whatever sounds have been changed to more that time frame. As you can hear now, this is the drum that I added. So not to reflect more a drum whatsoever. So we also have now don't know if you can hear me, my voice with all those gunfire. We also have like default marching sounds when they march. Now you also have your own marching sounds, the military cadence ability that you push where you walk faster. So if you click normally on that, it will take out the other sounds. So sometimes it's not really a big problem, but most of the time it works pretty well. So yeah, what else about the project? The project has been slow, to be quite honest. I have to do a lot of stuff. Plus end of this month I'm going on vacation, so yeah, I hope I can finish off the cavalry now for the Spanish, Portuguese and all the other ones, because I have to reassign a bit of the models because of the glossy issue they had with the other version. So yeah, here again that stupid bug, of course, but okay. So what will change? Now there will be big changes actually now. I will redo the campaign map, and the campaign map will probably spawn. There are two possibilities I'm going to make, or it will spawn from India to Japan. I will later show you a little example I have of the map I want to make, or from Siam to Japan. It really depends. So that means that a lot of minor factions will be added to the game. So yeah, it's a bit more work, but okay, no problem. Most of the Far East was under Western colonial influence. Of course, they had a lot of vassals. Some were, of course, still independent nations. So yeah, that will be added. I already asked some help. So yeah. If you're talking about help, actually, if you want to join the modding team, actually, I'm looking actually for 2D artists, 3D artists, textures, battle map creators, you know, a lot of stuff. Because, you know, I think now because the project has becoming bigger, you know, I need some help with that. Now my good friend Shark is going to make the custom battle factions. So I can concentrate 100% on the storyline and not on those custom factions already.
Your general is under attack.
I think he's going to start with the Mexican units that you can then later on use for the custom battles. So he's going to do all the custom battle factions that are not part of the storyline. So then I can concentrate 100% on the storyline, on the campaign. So what's the point of the campaign? Where are you going to start? So now I finished all the Western factions. The next step is to do or finish the cavalry by fixing the glossiness and of course giving the Portuguese and Spanish cavalry. After that I'm going to make an official update on the forum, on Steam and ModDB probably. And then I can start with the ship modeling for the Western factions and Chinese and Koreans and Japanese of course also. After that I finish, I will start with the campaign map to make the new campaign map, of course. It will be much bigger. You could say it's double the size of what you have now. This means, of course, that you know I have to squeeze Japan a bit, well, actually a lot more. So Japan will be a smaller landmass, of course. So now, I mean, the vanilla game and the mod. The former mod was concentrating on Japan. Now it will be now it will spawn in the entire Far East. So that means, of course, I have to make landmasses smaller, but on a bigger map. So the Japan map was made by 8,000 by 8,000 pixels. I will talk in pixels. I don't know how much the size is entirely, but just say 8,000 pixels. So now it will be from 16,000 to 16,000 pixels, so you know it will be double the size, so vertical and horizontal. That means, of course, that the Japanese landmass will be, of course, smaller. You can say like maybe 10 to 20 cities or regions in Japan, and the rest you will see when I start making it. So yeah, if people could help me out with the mods. I also need DB editors and whatsoever, so I can speed up the process, because I really want to speed it up now. My goal was and is still to make or to have a working campaign. Like end of this year, this December, hopefully. But only with the tier 1 units, of course. You know, I will gradually I will then update it in the game, because I want an in progress campaign, of course, because I also want to add a lot of scripts and whatsoever. So yeah, so I will start with the tier 1 units, land and naval units, with the campaign map, with the scripts, with the summer to winter uniform changes for the western factions, of course. You know, and a lot of, I have so much ideas I want to implement, so that means a huge amount of work. And of course, you know, I've done it, you could say I've done the mod 99% alone, so now I think it's time to have a team for it, you know. I already have someone that is starting to make some 2D art for me, so I don't have to do it myself, otherwise it's too much for me. Also, I have now Shark that is helping me for the custom battle factions. So if other people want to join, you know, to help out the mods, perfect, you're welcome. Now, I know a lot of people that say, yeah, I want to join the mod or whatsoever, and I want to mod, but I can't mod. Now, I don't have any problem with people that do not have any experience, to be quite honest. For me, the most important thing is, are you willing to learn? And I mean by that, you know, learn by yourself. You know, I cannot explain it for you, because, you know, I will be busy. So what does that mean, learn? Yeah, well, there are a lot of tutorials available what you can do. For example, on Total War Center there are a lot of tutorials. When I made the official update, I'm going to continue making new tutorials before I start with the ships. But then, you know, making a custom unit, how to texture. Also, I will add some other tutorials, how to make flags and, you know, whatsoever. So before I started with the ships. So yeah, if you're willing to learn and you have at least like maybe once a week time, a bit of time to mod or to help me out, then perfect. You know, I don't ask more than that, because, you know, in the future sometimes, you know, I received a lot of like a request from people like, oh yeah, I want to help out, and I'm happy for that, but then they disappear. You know, they're like, oh yeah, they're not there anymore. So yeah, I mean, that doesn't really work for me, to be quite honest. I mean, if you just, you know, if you're just a one-day modder, you could say like, oh yeah, I'm willing to learn and whatsoever, and I put my time and effort in it, yeah, then I mean, better not. If you're saying like, no, I can't or whatsoever, I don't mind. You know, just if you can support me in other ways, for example at Patreon, or, you know, just sharing the words, giving suggestions, be in my Discord, you know, all that stuff, you know, you're welcome. What I want to make is the best experience. That's why the mod takes a bit longer, because I want to make the best mod. I don't want to do like rush. Have a lot of bugs, a lot of things that don't work. No, I really want the mod to work stable for battles. You don't have crashes. I will tell you that, for example, now lately I don't have any crashes. I have no crashes at all. Sometimes the vanilla crashes you have, of course, the vanilla CTDs, but for example, that those things don't happen that much often. You know? The mod is stable. I don't have any issues and whatsoever. So, you know, that's what I'm working on. I'm working on a stable and good version, like you have a different experience, like a new game on a game. That's what I really want to make. Like you play the game and you say, oh, this is not Shogun 2, this is Total Fall of the Samurai or Scramble of the Far East. That is the feeling I want to give you guys, you know. And I just hope that, you know, most of you that watch these videos that love Victorian Age warfare, because I've seen lately that, you know, I don't see so much people whatsoever that are really glad to have Victorian Age. I don't know, I hear a lot of people have Victorian Age whatsoever, but I don't see really like a lot of support in that, like at Discord or whatsoever. So I hope you still support the mod. Let me know if there are any problems, or you say, okay, this is what I really don't like, and I hope I can fix it. But okay, that's the plan. So yeah, I need help now. So for for stuff that I can concentrate on the more important stuff.
Used all available ammunition.
I can hear the sound. So that sound is the military cadence, yeah, from the Portuguese. Yeah. So remember that every faction, of course, have their own military cadence. So yeah, I'm going to show you later when we finish a bit, this little battle, you could say, this example. I will then show you a bit what is the workflow, where are the IDs I want to do, and also the map I want to make. As you said, there are two ways. I'm not yet working on the campaign map yet, but I already have like a rough idea what I want to do. So there are two campaign maps I want to make. Maybe that's one, or from India to Japan, or from Siam or Thailand to Japan. Now let me know, you guys, which one or which map you want to have. Let me know. Just let me know, like, okay, in the comments below, like, okay, this map I really want to have, or this map I really want to see. Like, which map do you prefer? The one from India to Japan, so the biggest one, or the one from Siam to Japan? Let me know in the comments below, or in Discord or whatsoever, on the forum, which map you like to see, and give me any suggestions of factions or whatsoever. I know that, for example, India was under British rule. You all know that, I can make two ways how I can make India. I can make India all British, pretty easy for me, but I'm sure you don't want to have that. I know that the British Raj, I think it was, the name of it, I'm not sure, had a lot of vassal principalities. So yeah, I'm thinking to maybe make some vassal principalities, because in the Far East I already asked some help from some people who have some knowledge for those minor factions. There are some minor, I will show you a list actually of minor factions. I think I already put it on the Discord, which minor factions will be presented in the how can I say, in the campaign map for the Far East. I'm talking about, there were a lot of, like, Vietnam was there, of course. There were many small little factions that were there. Also, I think the Sultanate of Brunei was even there. So yeah, the starting date will be at 1858. The reason why 1858, of course, has to do with the French invasion of Vietnam, because the French had, you could say, Indochina, as the French said it, was a colony of France, starting from that date actually. So that's why I think it's the best way to start that date. Plus, of course, France and Britain were at war with the Qing dynasty from China. With the Second Opium War, the French, of course, fought for Indochina. So yeah, here's a nice battle. Maybe I can show this. These are the Timor against the colonial Spanish infantry. Yeah, here. I also added the charge sounds, so they don't have any more those Japanese, like, weird sounds. Not weird sounds, but don't have those sounds anymore. Here you see with the Filipino against the Timor infantry. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool, right? And they all go to run. So, I remember here I started to charge here. So yeah, remember? So I was talking. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm talking a lot. It's because I want to give you some ideas what I'm going to do. So yeah, at 1858, the Second Opium War, and I think it is the best. So then France also have a foothold in the Far East, of course. This is also, of course, after the Sepoy Rebellion, also against the East India Company. That's also one of the reasons I wanted to start in 1858, because I was not really in the mood to make a Sepoy Rebellion mod. I mean, there's already a Sepoy Rebellion mod for, I think, Napoleon Total War or Empire Total War, I don't remember. I think it's Empire Total War, yeah, because they have the Indian subcontinent. So, you know, that's why if you want to play the Sepoy Rebellion with the East India Company, you know, play that mod, of course. So 1858, because that is, this is when, of course, the British took over the authority over India, of course, and became the British Raj. And I think Queen Victoria became the Empress of India. I'm not sure it was 1858, maybe it was later on, I don't know. But, you know, then we have, you know, British rule, just British normal rule in India, together with some vassal states. Alright, this is the... I know you hear the sound? Yeah. Yeah, this is, you know, sometimes... This is the default marching sound. So everyone has it. So everyone has a default marching sound. So just for you to know. So it makes it a bit easier, you know, like with a drum and whatsoever. So yeah, this is the idea I have. I'm hoping now to finish the cavalry. Now I finished the Portuguese land and artillery units together with the Spanish, because of course Spain had the Philippines, for example. The Portuguese had Timor, had Macau. And also had Goa, of course, in India. The French had then Indochina, but Indochina will not be directly directly under French rule. I mean, at least not entire Vietnam, because this is the date when the French invaded Vietnam. So it means that they will have partially regions in that, but not all of it, because there will be, of course, when you start, you will be if you play the French or British. I mean, let's say the French, you will be at war with the Qing dynasty, with the Vietnamese, of course, because part of the Vietnamese, South of Vietnamese, was still not under French rule until later on. So they will be, of course, also presented in the campaign. Now, I think I already showed you, so I think you have seen enough, you could say, right, in the battle. So. Okay, that makes it easy, so I'm going to quit it, because, you know, we don't need to talk about it further. I mean, you don't have to see it further. So yeah, the plan is, of course, to make a large campaign map, because it is the scramble of the Far East. Because first I was thinking I can only add Korea, Japan and Russia, but, you know, that's okay, that's the far east. But, you know, if you talk about the Far East, you talk about, you know, the Far East, you know, starting from India, if you could say, you know, sometimes they start at Siam, or they start from India. So yeah, this is this will be added. Okay, let me go to. So where is the picture I want to show you? Let me see, where do I have it again? Let me see, where is the map? Ah, here we have. So here, this is an example. This is a rough map, eh? So as you can see, starting from the point of Hakodate from Japan here, I think Vladivostok is somewhere here, if I remember. So here until, you know, the border of India, you could say, you know, the recent India, you know, Pakistan there. I think Pakistan is there, if I'm not sure. So from here probably to Papua New Guinea until at Japan. So this part here will be, I mean, that's the idea I have. The other idea I had was actually starting from approximately here to here, without the Indian subcontinent, because, you know, India subcontinent, of course, has, you know, it's big, first of all. Plus, you know, if you give India, you know, the British are then pretty powerful, have a powerful start, you could say. They have a lot of money, you know. India was very resourceful, you could say, for the British in that time. So yeah, let me know which one you like to have. It's or with India or starting from, you could say, you know, Siam or Thailand, until that part, so then you have only with part of China or whatever. Now you have of course more, you have like parts of Tibet and whatever. So that's the idea that I have actually. That's the idea. So yeah, let me know if you oh my god, my English lately. Let me know which one you like to have, or you think, okay, this is a map I like to see. It's from India to Japan, or from Siam to Japan. One of the two. Let me know in the comments below, or in the forum, or on Discord. Yeah, I have a lot of big plans for the mod. For the new update that will come, the beta 5, I hope end of this month, because remember, end of this month I'm going on vacation, so I hope or before or after the 28th of June, because before the 21st I'm leaving until the 28th. So yeah, I'm not going to take my PC with me, otherwise my wife will kill me, I guess. So I don't think she wants she already goes crazy sometimes. So yeah, I have a lot of ideas. I said the Western factions, they will have, I'm going to make a script where they will change the uniforms on the campaign map. You have to go to a city or your region to change the uniform. If you don't do that, you will maybe suffer attrition, heat or winter, cold attrition, you could say so. Yeah, I have a lot of ideas. Of course, I'm going to start with all tier 1, and then I will gradually update the way of, the way they modernize, of course. So there will be a lot of things. Also let me know which factions you want to see in that area. I already have. I will add a list. I will add more information on the forum, so please watch out at the forum which faction I'm going to add. I'm going to add a lot of minor ones. I'm not going to promise that they will have an extensive unit roster. There was someone that asked me, Aya, can you have like a regional unit or whatsoever? Yeah, I am going to do that. So what I'm going to do, or like special region, you will have maybe a regional militia that you can recruit, because your main army will be colonial. That means that only at one part, you can say your capital area of your colony, you can only there import European units, but there are like two requirements probably. That is the capital region that you have to have, and for example a European trading port or whatsoever. A trading port that goes to Europe, you could say, for example. So but if you lose your capital region, you lose that resource. So that's why it's very important not to lose your capital region. It makes it more interesting to also really defend your capital. And the rest, actually, you can only recruit colonial troops. They also have a dynamic unit cap, so you will probably also need to recruit regional or provincial units or militia units to make your armies larger, so you have more native armies in your army than actually European troops or colonial troops. That sounds more historical accurate, and also more logical. So that in every region you capture, they will probably have one or maybe two special units that come from that region. For example, you saw that the Portuguese have Timor infantry. That infantry unit will also maybe be available for everyone, except a bit different, because it is Portuguese. So but even if you ever, for example, conquer Timor, you can maybe recruit Timor infantry. Of course, they will look a bit different, colorized I'm talking about, maybe other stuff or whatsoever. So every region you capture, they have like a special unit that you can recruit, because every unit will have a dynamic unit cap, so you cannot just recruit thousands of men in one region. First of all, it's not really possible. Plus, also what I want to add to the mod is population, of course, because if you recruit from that area, of course the population is going down. Now I'm not going to make it as extensive as DEY, the DVD at Impera, because that's very deep. I don't want to make a system like that. What I want is just population. You recruit from population and that's it. Maybe there can be a difference in native or whatsoever, I'm not sure, but I think I will make it just basic, just population, you know, population grow whatsoever. And there are a lot of ideas I have, so yeah, I hope you enjoy this dev diary. It's a much larger one, I think, than the other one, I'm not really sure. And thank you for watching, guys, and see you then, guys. If you want to support me, if you want to support me on Patreon, you can support me always on Patreon. The link is down below. I also want to say special thanks to some people, and that is Lord John for making some videos of the mod. He has, you know, done a lot of effort for me to show some videos. I also want to say thank you to my patrons, actually, for all the support you have given me, guys. You know, for, you know, helping and even, you know, donating stuff so I can really concentrate a lot on modding. You know, it's a hobby, I love for it, so it's not the main thing in my life. Otherwise I was like, oh, I want only money or whatsoever. Nah, for me it's really a hobby, it's a love for it. Sometimes it's hard because sometimes you're really not in the mood to mod, but now I'm back in the mood to do further and further and further. So yeah, all my Patreons, of course. I want to thank Shark. He has always been there and supportive for me since the beginning, helping me a lot in stuff. Also, I want to thank Set Kiara Productions for making such cool videos. It's very nice to see that some YouTubers wants to make the effort to make videos or previews about it, because not all, especially the bigger YouTube, is really difficult to let them, you know, review the mod, because, you know, I think, you know, time, you know, they don't have so much time. Of course, they have to do so much work, plus maybe they do not really, I mean, they are not really that interesting in that time frame. Who knows, I don't know. You know, now Three Kingdoms is there, and of course, yeah, they want to concentrate on Three Kingdoms. It's normal, you know, big YouTubers, Total War YouTubers, of course, you know, they need to earn their money. They are independent workers, so, you know, it's normal. I mean, I wish, of course, they could give me a review. That would be cool, especially for views, for people. You know, there are a lot of people that don't know about the mod, and they like to have a Victorian age style game or whatsoever mod, and they don't find it or whatsoever. So yeah, I hope maybe in the future. Also, yeah, I want to thank a lot of people, or John said Kiara Productions, the Shark, Catholic Commissar, or long time I heard from him, so greetings over there. So Palaios is always sending me messages sometimes. You know, there are many people I really want to say thank you for all the support. And if you have suggestions and you want to support me, you can always support me on Patreon. For $1 a month, you receive new pictures. There are different tiers, of course, and, you know, the higher tier you get more things. I think it's pretty logically, of course, if you want to donate more, you know, receive much more. So I also am expanding my modding team. If you are interested to work with me or to help out with the mod, you can PM me on Discord, especially for it, and tell me what experience you have, or if you want to learn, fine, no problem, but of course you have to learn by yourself. I cannot really help out you that much. I will make I will make tutorials also, but I cannot really put my time in it, because, you know, time is precious and I need to put time as much as possible on the mod. So okay, that was it now, and now I can say finally goodbye, guys. See you then and have a great time.